The Bible is a collection of sacred texts and scriptures central to the faith of billions of people worldwide, particularly in Christianity and Judaism. It is divided into two primary sections, the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament is shared by both Jews and Christians, containing texts written before the life of Jesus Christ. It includes historical narratives, laws, poetry, prophecies, and wisdom literature. Key books in the Old Testament include Genesis, Exodus, Psalms, and Isaiah. It recounts the creation of the world, the history of the Jewish people, and God's covenant with them. The New Testament, unique to Christianity, focuses on the life, teachings, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, who Christians believe is the Son of God and the Messiah. It includes the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which provide accounts of Jesus' life. The Acts of the Apostles narrates the early history of the Christian Church, while the epistles, letters, written by early Christian leaders, including Paul, offer guidance and teachings to Christian communities. The New Testament concludes with the Book of Revelation, which contains apocalyptic visions and prophecies about the end of the world and the return of Christ. The Bible is considered divinely inspired by Christians, who view it as a guide to faith, moral living, and understanding God's will. It has had a profound influence on literature, art, law, and culture throughout history. Translated into thousands of languages, the Bible remains the most widely read and distributed book in the world. The Bible was written by numerous individuals over a span of about 1,500 years, with many different authors contributing to its texts. These authors came from diverse backgrounds, including prophets, kings, priests, scholars, and fishermen. Christians believe that although humans wrote the Bible, it was inspired by God, meaning that God guided the writers in their work. In the Old Testament, much of the writing is attributed to significant figures in ancient Israelite history. For example, Moses, traditionally credited with writing the first 5 books of the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, is believed to have recorded the laws and history of the Jewish people. David, the second king of Israel, is traditionally associated with many of the Psalms, while Solomon, his son, is believed to have authored several books, including Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. Prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel wrote prophetic books that conveyed messages from God, often warning Israel of judgment and calling them to repentance. The New Testament was written by the disciples and followers of Jesus Christ. The apostles Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John each wrote one of the 4 Gospels, detailing the life, teachings, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Paul, one of the most influential early Christian leaders, wrote many of the epistles, letters, to various Christian communities, offering theological teachings, guidance, and encouragement. Other early Christian leaders, such as Peter, James, and John, contributed letters and writings that were included in the New Testament. While the Bible contains many different voices, the central belief for many Christians is that God is the ultimate author, inspiring the various human authors to communicate his message to humanity,